outcomes if we were to allocate overhead under two different methods. We're going to look at the departmental method, if you recall that one from managerial accounting, and we're going to compare that to if we use the more specific ABC costing method. So this company Transom makes many products, but it's best known for two styles of their park benches, the classic and the modern. They initially set up their allocation system based upon the departmental rate, and they came up with these budgeted cost here: $700,000 for the assembly, $480,000 for the finishing. We have the allocation bases, or as we call them, cost drivers: machine hours for assembly, direct labor hours for finishing, and we have the estimated amount of each one of those, and we also have the amounts of each one of those that were actually used. And then they give us some information that will allow us to also do this problem using the ABC method. So the first thing we need to do is to look at it from a departmental rate standpoint, from the departmental method. So we need to calculate the departmental rate for assembly. We will go to the assembly here and look at the $700,000 divided by 125 total machine hours that were budgeted. That would give us a rate of $5.60. If we do the same for the finishing, it's $480 divided by 50,000. That gives us a rate of $960. Okay, then we need to apply those rates to the amount of machine hours and the direct labor hours that were used by each one of those departments. So for the assembly, 560 times, which product did we have first here? The classic benches. So when I go look at the classic numbers for assembly, I used 50,000 machine hours. Multiply that times the 560, and we come up with $280,000. For the finishing department, again for classic finishing, 20,000 direct labor hours times $9.60 per direct labor hour gives us $192,000. We add those two together and we have a total of $472,000 that would have been allocated to the classic benches using the departmental method there. Then we want to look at spreading these costs to the modern benches based upon the quantity that was used by modern. 30,000 for assembly, 20,000 for finishing. Multiply the 30,000 times 560, and we have 168,000. And multiplying the 960 times 20,000, and we have 192,000, which, yeah, actually we already calculated that it's going to be the same number for both of them because they have the same amount of hours. So the 192, that's just because they both use 20,000 direct labor hours. We add those two together and we have 360,000. Let's make sure those are correct before we move on. Okay. The next area, we're going to actually redo this using activity-based activities instead of just assigning it to the departments. We're going to go into those departments and look at the individual activities involved and spread overhead based upon the different activities that these products go through. So the first thing we have to do is calculate the rate. Let's get back up here to our budgeted area. Going to take the budgeted overhead cost divided by the budgeted budgeted cost driver. For materials handling, it is common to use the number of times materials have to be moved as the cost driver because that's what's determining how it's really what is driving your cost up. So 120 divided by 16 gives us a rate of $7.50 per move. Production setup, 240 divided by 8,000. Assembly would be 450 divided by 75,000. Quality control is 170 divided by 340. Factory depreciation, 200,000 divided by 400,000. Put that one down here while it's fresh on my mind. So if we do the math for all of those, we are looking at $30 per run, $6 per direct labor hour, 50 cents per inspection, and 50 cents per square foot. Now, I do want to make a note with regards to the direct labor hour. This does not mean this is what employees are being paid per hour. What it does mean is that this is what it cost in labor to actually build this particular product. So don't confuse this with an hourly wage. Okay, so we have figured out the rates. We want to do the same thing we did with the departmental, but we have all these different, 5 different well, 2 products actually. So we're going to figure out the amount of overhead for each one of those 5 areas for each product. So like I said, it's the same calculation. You're just doing it multiple times when you move from the single plant-wide rate to the departmental rate to the activity-based costing rate. So materials handling for the classic line, I'm going to look at 750 per move times classic moved 4,000 times. So 4,000 times the 750 gives us $30,000. For production setup, looking at $30 per run, and under classic, we had 2,500 runs. And that gives us $75,000. $6 per direct labor hour for assembly for these products. So classic assembly had 20,000 hours times that $6, and we are looking at $120,000. Quality control is 50 cents per inspection. They had 34,000 inspections, so $17,000. And factory depreciation is 50 cents per square foot. How many square feet does this particular product occupy? The production area for that particular product, 150,000 times the 50 cents would give us $75,000. We add all of these costs together, all of these manufacturing overhead costs together, and we come up with $317,000. Okay, we're going to do the exact same thing for the modern line. I'm going to take these rates, multiply them times the amount of that cost driver that that particular product used. So 3,000 times 750 gives us 22,500. $30 per run times 2,000 runs. This rolling back and forth is a lot of fun, huh? For assembly, we actually had the same thing in direct labor hours. $6 times assembly was the same, so we've already done the math for that one. That's going to be the same 120,000 that it was for the classic line. Quality control, we are looking at 50 cents per inspection times 17,000 inspections, which should give us 8,500. And then finally, factory depreciation, 50 cents per square foot. And we had, come on, 100,000 square feet. So 50,000 square feet. We do the math, add all of these together, and we have $261,000. Let's make sure that's correct before we move on. Uh-oh. I left a 0 out here. There we go. Moving on to the next part, we have, we're being asked to actually determine the product cost for each one of the models under the department system as well as the ABC system. So they have given us the direct material cost per unit for each one of the products, as well as the direct labor cost per unit under each one of the products, and the total units produced. So the direct materials and direct labor are going to be the same regardless to which overhead method I use. So I'm going to be looking at $130,000 in prime cost for, if you remember that term, prime cost equals direct materials plus direct labor. $130,000 in prime cost for the classic and $150 in prime cost for the modern. I just need to add the manufacturing overhead per unit component to those to get my total product cost. Remember, product cost is direct materials plus direct labor plus manufacturing overhead. So for the classic, I need to, first of all, using the departmental system here, I have to go back up to the top. And for this, I have a total. Where did we get the total here? Okay. We have a total of $472,000 here in manufacturing overhead. Divide that by the number of units produced, and we add that to the $130 in prime cost, and we should come up with a total of $177.20. So we have $47.20 as our manufacturing overhead cost per unit. Under the departmental method again, we are looking at a total of $360,000 that was applied to the modern benches. Divide that by 12,000. We have $30 being added to the 100 plus the 50, so 180. And these are the total product cost for each one of those bench types using the departmental system. Using the ABC system, we need to go back to where we calculated these total overhead costs. 317 for the classic divided by the 10,000. That gives us 3170. We add that to the 130 we already had, giving us 161.70. And then total for the modern bench was 261 divided by 12,000. Clear. That's $21.75 plus the $150 we already have. And we are looking at $171.75. Make sure we're good. Okay. And then finally, they're asking us to determine what the current departmental, how much margin it would have under each one of those costing methods for overhead. So we want to look at assuming that there's a price here of $350 each for both products there. What we want to do is take that $350 and subtract the classic departmental total cost from it. And that should give us, let's see here, clear, minus 177.20 will give us 172.80. For the modern under the departmental system, 350 minus 180 would give us 170. For the activity-based costing system, 350 minus 161 should give us 188.30. Oops, I didn't switch over. 170. Okay, so 350 minus 161.70 gives me 172.80. And then 350 minus 171.75 gives us 178.25. See if we're good here. Partially correct. What did we do? Let's see. 350 minus activity base for classic. Let's see. Activity base for classic. 350 minus 161.70. 188.30. I just dropped the wrong number in. That's all. Okay, we're good. That is the end of question 2. We're going to stop this video and continue it on a third one.